Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
A very good evening and thanks so much for joining us here on the Q2 10 o'clock news. I'm Samantha Harrelson in for Zoe Zandora. New tonight, one man is dead and 3 others injured after a crash near Lodge Grass. The crash was first reported around 8:40 on Friday morning. Montana Highway Patrol says the crash happened on Secondary Highway 451 when the driver ran off the road and tried to overcorrect. The car then hit an embankment and rolled. The victim, a 21-year-old Crow agency man, died on scene. MHP says he was not wearing a seatbelt. The driver, a 19-year-old man, and one of the passengers and a 17-year-old girl were all taken to the Crow Hospital. Another passenger, a 19-year-old woman, was life-flighted to St. Vincent Hospital in Billings. MHP said alcohol and speed are both suspected factors in that crash. This is the 104th death on Montana's roadways since the beginning of the year. And in other news, a girl is missing after running away from her foster family in Yellowstone National Park. 14-year-old LaShayla Putnick had been in the custody of West Virginia Child Protective Services, but was temporarily placed with a foster family in Wyoming, according to the sheriff's office back in West Virginia. On Tuesday, she left the family while on a trip to Yellowstone. She has not made contact with the family or authorities since that day. The sheriff's office says Putnick has ties to Billings, as well as cities in Wyoming, Colorado, West Virginia, and Florida. She has brown hair, brown eyes, is 5'4", and weighs about 130 pounds. Anyone with any information on her whereabouts is asked to call their local law enforcement agencies. It's been 7 weeks since 23-year-old Jermaine Charlo went missing near Kalispell. Today, her friends, family, and a group of volunteers gathered to search for her. MTN's Lauren Heiser was there and has the latest.
The land around the casino was an area of interest to both the lifeguard group and law enforcement, as the search for the missing mother of 2 continues. Previously, law enforcement searched the area by vehicle, but Saturday morning, the lifeguard group was back to comb through the land on foot. Crews continue to search based off of intel shared from law enforcement and tips sent directly to them from members of the community. There have been 5 to 10 tips a day coming to the lifeguard group, some placing her in Seattle, others saying that she's been seen in eastern Montana.
We will follow every lead. We're not going to get frustrated. We're going to quit, and we will go anywhere and look everywhere. Jermaine's out there somewhere, and you know, somebody knows something. Somebody knows where Jermaine's at. People don't just disappear. They don't just vanish. Somebody knows, and somebody knows somebody that knows. And at this point, we're just looking for somebody brave enough that knows to come forward.
There were about 50 people there to help, including friends and family. CEO of Lifeguard, Lowell Hochhalter, said the participation by so many members of the community does provide a sense of comfort in this difficult time.
The phrase that says it takes a village could not be any more true than it is in this moment right now for this family. And to see these people come up here today, knowing that what they could find, knowing what they could possibly stumble across, and just showing up here is acknowledging the fact that something has happened that should not have happened.
One volunteer said her and her husband felt coming to the search was the least that they could do for the family.
That's difficult to wrap your mind around. I was listening to him talk and give the instructions, and a part of me felt fearful. I did feel afraid, what if I do find something, or and then also fear that we don't find anything. And you know, I've always hoped and prayed that we could help find Jermaine alive.
In Missoula, Lauren Heiser, MTN News.
And Lauren tells us technology has been a help for those in the search party. Today they used an app which helped them track the progress made by all of those volunteers. Now on to western Montana for Fire Watch. A wildland fire started by a trailer house fire threatened multiple structures in Sanders County. The Sanders County Wildfire Information page reports the wildfire started northwest of Plains around 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. The Weeksville fire is estimated about 50 acres tonight. The trailer house where the fire originated and one small outbuilding are the only structures that burned yesterday. Several other structures directly threatened by the fire were successfully protected by firefighters. Currently, about 75 personnel are on scene, including 3 helicopters, 2 dozers, and several engines. And just northeast of the Weeksville fire, the Garden Creek fire continues burning near Hot Springs. This video was taken inside the fire by CSKT firefighters. The lightning-sparked blaze is just about over 2,000 acres, but stayed steady overnight. The fire is currently only about 10% contained. No structures are threatened now, but firefighters did have to protect one nearby house. More than 200 firefighters are on the scene of that fire. Fire restrictions continue to be in effect throughout the state amid a weekend of hot and dry weather. And speaking of that hot and dry weather, Connor, what are we looking forward to going forward?
You know, we have a little bit more hot weather on the docket. We get a little bit of relief in terms of that weather earlier in the week, but the fires are still front and center. This is the updated graphic. We can see that fire near Hot Springs as well as the fires in the western half of the state. Newest one is the farthest eastern one in there. And we're looking at the updated smoke graphic as well. We can see smoke playing a pretty big factor across Montana right now. That air quality is going to be a little bit lower. And as we go throughout the week, this is also going to be a factor, especially for tomorrow when we have hotter weather as well as the chance of some storms with some more lightning strikes. We are looking at critical fire weather condition being prevalent throughout Sunday as well. I'll break down the rest of the forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Thanks, Connor. Well, the hot weather we've been talking about all week, not a problem for the thousands of fans who packed the Rimrock Auto Arena for the Kelly Clarkson concert tonight. The Grammy Award-winning artist kicked off her show with her hit, My Life Would Suck Without You. This is the second time that Kelly Clarkson's played a show in Billings, her first being back in 2009. Next in Montana's Fair concert lineup is Bret Michaels, playing tomorrow night at the Rimrock Auto Arena. And an annual run here in Billings benefiting different organizations throughout the last 15 years, focusing this year's efforts on helping children in the community. The Quality of Life Run is put on by the Billings Association of Realtors. This year, the run benefits court-appointed special advocates of Yellowstone County, or CASA, which helps kids who have been neglected or abused.
CASA volunteers are the one stable force in their time in the court system when they're separated from their parent or guardian. So they do very important work and are a stabilizing force for those kids. We're one of the only runs, there aren't that many in August, maybe the last event for the family before kids head back to school and enjoy one last summer day.
This year's turnout was very impressive. More than 600 came out for this year's Quality of Life Run. And before we take a break tonight, we head to a galaxy far, far away. Okay, it was just Great Falls, but a pretty cool event nonetheless. The man who helped design spaceships for the Star Wars movies presented in Great Falls this afternoon. Colin Cantwell did a short presentation at Kelly's Comics before meeting with fans. Cantwell is known for designing and constructing the prototypes of the Death Star, X-Wing fighter, and the original Millennium Falcon. Cantwell says he's always been interested in different types of aircraft, even those used in another galaxy. Well, thanks so much for spending your Saturday night with us here on the Q2 10 o'clock news. Coming up, more details on the bizarre plane theft at the Seattle-Tacoma airport, the conversation the man had with air traffic control before that plane went down. And in sports tonight, Brandon fills us in on how our Montana Little Leaguers fared today. Stay with us. All that and more is coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora, Storm Tracker weather with Connor Pregetzer, and sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.